and he put it all in one picture. Okay? That was his, writing it down. That was his way of understanding it. Now imagine if I'd have spent the whole year telling him, don't put your pencil down. The kid wouldn't learn anything. Okay? He probably wouldn't learn anything. So again, you have to be careful. It doesn't mean that you just abdicate your responsibility and let the kids do whatever they want. But remember that sometimes what we think is goofing off might be helping that kid learn. Okay? Another thing kids will sometimes do is they'll sit there and they'll do this. They have a high musical intelligence. We're not talking about intelligence here, but the kid may be sitting there doing this, and you know what they're often doing is they're tapping the key words that you might be talking about. Or they might be looking at keywords on the board or in the book. And when I was a kid, one of the things I used to do, one of the reasons I was a fairly good student in geography and history, I did quite well most of the time, I used to take all of my notes before the exam and made a song out of them. I'm the worst singer in the world. So I would never do that, make you inflict that on you. I will not sing to you. But I would make a song. Out of all of my geography notes and all of my history notes, I consistently got higher grades in geography and history in high school than in any other subjects. And I think that's probably part of the reason. Now, I'm low in musical intelligence. I'm not very good at doing it, but I like music. Even though I can't, I used to joke around and say I can't carry a tune, farther than the fridge to get another beer or something like that, Anyway, I think that was lost. But regardless, so you have back attacks. The other thing they talk about, which is kind of interesting, and which is useful, and I'll write this down, is field dependent versus field independent. I believe that's right, isn't it? Is it independent? Somebody correct me if I get that. I think that's the right division. So if I said that wrong, somebody correct me. I don't mind being corrected. But this one, this distinction, to put it really simply, is between somebody, sometimes we talk about what we call a global thinker. A global thinker is, there's somebody who says, just tell me what the big picture is. Just tell me what is the overall goal here. Right? Like most, for example, if you look at people that get, in corporations, often these people tend to do very well. They get to high levels in corporations, right? Because they sort of are able to look at a big picture. And they can also get themselves into trouble in corporations because they don't look at the details. And then they may wind up in symmetrical dilemma because they weren't careful enough with what the details were. But the field, the sort of global thinker is often somebody that tends to be more of a field-dependent person. They put all the pieces together. The field-independent guy is often somebody that would be real good at writing code, for example, for Microsoft, because they like all of these details. This is not really an either-or. It's probably more like a continuum. And I don't know why I didn't put this up before. I'm not using it. So, you guys can always just tell me something. If you see, and say, Andy, why don't you just put the screen up? You're not using it. Okay. I'm not going to get insulted. But anyway, you have sort of a spectrum probably. It's more like this, right? And everybody is somewhere between the field dependent level and the field independent. Everybody falls somewhere in there. It's like a spectrum or a continuum, if you like. And where sort of the medium is, kind of in the middle, right? Somebody that has a mix, okay, of looking at details and breaking things out and analyzing it, or looking at the overall picture. Now, why this is something like overview the next 2 chapters? Is that going to be easy for them?
No.
No. Why not? Why are they going to struggle with something like that?
They're not self-sufficient yet. They haven't arrived at that level yet.
Okay, yeah, all right. Now, and they also don't understand the big picture thinking, to look at the overall chapter, right? Now, if you say to them, find the 12 key vocabulary words in that chapter, they'll do well at that. You see what I'm saying? So this is a useful distinction just for thinking about where your students fall in. Okay? Does that make sense? Yeah, I don't want to go into that too much. How are we doing for time? Somebody tell me how we're doing for time.
We have, it's 19:27.
Right.
We got about an hour left, I suppose. If you're finishing at 8:30.
It was 6:30? Oh, we're doing okay. That's good. That's a good feeling. I gotta get a drink here, sorry. One of these issues, I suppose I could have written it down if I wanted, but it's another one of these issues where you have to kind of try to feel the match with the students. Does that make sense? And none of the things we're talking about is necessarily easy to do. I'm just trying to raise your awareness right now. Okay? So if you say, oh my God, I got to do all this stuff tomorrow in class, you know, no, that's not the point. Okay? Just develop awareness of it, and what you'll find happening is, as you're in the classroom, you'll make more and more appropriate decisions over time. And I'm still doing that. If you remember, I came around when you were doing your group activity, and I think I asked everybody, there might have been one or two I missed. I tried to ask everybody how my pace was, right? Because I've tried to adjust. I might not have gotten it right. I might still be a bit too quick for some people, right? But there's a balance there too, because if I go too slow, you know, some people may understand perfectly at this speed, but other people might do what Sister Rose was doing a few minutes ago and fall asleep. Poor sister.
Where is she?
Well, she thought I didn't notice. But anyway, so there's a balance, right? But again, you adjust, right? You make those adjustments, and that's what teaching is all about. You keep adjusting, right? Now, what I did there is because I know I just told a story that I knew some people didn't get. So I just said, well, don't worry about the story, but this is what it meant. And so, because the stories are more of an illustrator. I'm trying to illustrate something with a story. And if you don't remember the story, that's okay. I don't always remember them all anyway. Okay? So, but the ideas. So, what I'm trying to say is that adjustment keeps going on. Teaching is like medicine in one respect. You know, it's kind of funny, they often say, he practices medicine. I'm like, you know, he hasn't got it right yet. He's been doing it 40 years. You get that, eh? Practice medicine? Practice is like you practice. No? Okay, forget about it. All right, but anyway, when you're talking, Boyle got it. Yeah, well, okay, got it. Some people got it. Yeah?
I have a question.
Sure, go ahead.
When you were explaining, I didn't really get the difference. I think maybe I must have heard something wrong. When you were talking about field dependent and field independent,
yeah,
and you're talking about the global thinker, so
yeah.
Is that person field dependent or field independent?
They're more field dependent, I would say. Global thinker. Yeah. And what else to say? What is that? Did I say it the opposite way to look?
No, you're right.
Yeah. I don't know. To me, you know, some of this, I got to be honest, sometimes I explain things from my understanding of it, but that's what the book says too, right? I would think so. Okay, field dependent. All right, let's go back. Because let me make it, okay, let me put it this way. Let me draw, okay, let's draw a field. Seriously, let's draw a field, okay? Because that's what, talk about field. Okay, so here's a field, and you've got, let's say we're going, I don't know, what are we growing? Corn? Who knows? Okay, put some corn in this field. Okay, there's a cornfield. I know I'm a great artist. You can see all the corn in that one field. Okay, you know? All right. So, okay, you got your corn growing and so on. I should put more than one on a plant, right? Okay. Anyway, so I'm not going to draw all the corn. Okay? You have to take so much. But you have to use your imagination. There's rows of corn all the way across this field. Okay? Now, somebody that is field dependent looks at this and sees all of the cornfield. They're a global thinker. In fact, they may think about fields as a whole, like the corn industry. They may be thinking about this field connected to thousands of other fields throughout the country. And then towards the trade in corn all over the world. They may be able to see that big picture, does that make sense? With just look at this, think about other corn fields, right? A field-dependent thinker. They can look at this field and connect it to other fields. Their way of thinking is dependent on looking at a whole bunch of stuff connected together. Does that make sense? A field-independent thinker might be thinking about the atomic structure, extreme level. We're talking real